I would like to thank Level Up Games in South St. Paul, Minnesota for having us this week. Phone number for South St. Paul is 651-493-9176. Address is 207 13th Avenue South in South St. Paul, Minnesota 55075. They have been very courteous in allowing us to record here. Next time you're in South St. Paul, please stop by for all your Magic, Pokemon, and comic book needs. Hello and welcome to Major Podcast tonight, and it is on August 9th, 2017. Tonight is a Wednesday, which means it's Comic Book Day. We just came from Level Up Comics, me and my nephew, and we decided to start collecting the Sovereigns, which includes Turok as well. Probably won't collect the rest of them, but the Sovereigns, main title, and Turok. And probably Magnus, because I really like Magnus. Magnus is fun. But we have been collecting Bane Conquest as well. Collecting Bane Conquest is awesome. Anyway, I'm just trying out my new filter here and seeing if it works better than before, because I just didn't have one before. And this seems to help with the sound and everything, so I'm grateful to my father for getting this for me. Well, since it's Comic Book Day, we're going to go through some reviews. Some of these are a little older, but some of them are newer. And all these series are still ongoing. So you can go and pick them up at your comic book store, and if not, you can always have them go and order them, back order maybe, or you can get them online through an online service like mycomicshop.com. But I'd prefer that you go to your local comic shop first, ask them, and see if they have it in stock or if they can get it for you, because it's nice to support the local people first, then go online. I don't really like going on Amazon because I like supporting the local people first, because if you don't support the local people and Amazon were to, say, go out of business or be bought by a bigger company and their prices all went up, then everybody would complain. There wouldn't be any local people to help you out. So I like supporting the local people first, and then if they don't have it, and Tony's really good about this, he says he'll try his hardest to get me anything, and if he can't get it or get it at a price that's decent, he just tells me to go online and get it or to go to another comic book store. But I always give him the benefit of the doubt first and go to him. And I'm sure everybody in every town that has a comic book shop has a comic book shop like that that'll go bend over backwards for you. And I would prefer everybody go to that shop first, ask them, and then if they don't have it or they can't get it, and sometimes shops can get things of the market and what's going on with the market. So let's get into the reviews and see what I read this week to review for you guys. Tony gave me all these books to review because they're kind of fringe titles, and one of them is a new one, and he just kind of wanted to see what I thought about it. The first one is the one. It was Moonstruck #1. I gave it a 3 out of 5 overall, and I found out today after reading it, I went on and just did a little bit of looking it up, and I found out that it was written, I believe, and I don't believe it was drawn by, but I know it was written by the lady who does Lumberjanes. I'm sorry, not Lumberjacks. Lumberjacks are real. Lumberjanes are real too. They're just the comic book. Anyway, for art, I give it 4 out of 5. It had great coloring, and it's very new art looking. It's not a classic art, it's a newer art. Hard to explain. Story, 4 out of 5. It's a great story. And I know now why it's like this. I wrote down, not everybody in the book needs to be gay, but I realize now that I believe the Lumberjanes authors were gay, and I'm not saying they have an agenda to push, because that seems mean, but they see a lot of gay people in their life, and I do see a couple, but in this book, the two main characters are both gay, and it's about their love lives. And while that's nice and all, that's not written for me. I'm me. And I'm not saying that it's bad to read something that's made for somebody else, but I don't think the target demographic for this comic was me, per se. But I liked the book. I only gave it 3 out of 5 overall, just because it seemed to, I don't want to say it was pushing an agenda, but it was just like everybody in it was gay. And I don't personally live in a situation like that, but I'm sure there are, where everybody you know is gay or whatever, and that's okay. I mean, if that's your situation, you'll enjoy this book. It's a great book. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse. And so accessible, it's 5 out of 5. And I wrote down, after reading the entire thing, it seems to be written towards a gay audience, which is not bad. Every audience needs to have a comic book written for them. And there's been so many straight comics written for so long that I have no problem with a comic book coming out like this. And it seems to be, I'll say it's a solid book. If it's your thing, 5 out of 5. For me, it was 3 out of 5. And I just didn't get it. Maybe I'm still a few years away from getting it, but that one just didn't. And I'm not against gay characters in comic books, because in my life, I know 3 people out of like hundreds that are gay. I don't know everybody that I walk by is gay. Or, I mean, maybe they're in the closet or whatever. I don't know. But this is open and out, and it just, my life is not like that. But maybe somebody's is, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, for me personally reading it, not the best book. But if somebody's in that situation, it probably is an outstanding book, and I really did enjoy reading it. It was a lot of fun. Just not my cup of tea. So the second book is called Stained. I read number 1. I think it's up to number 4 now. That's by David Barron and Yusuf Idris. And I forgot to say that Moonstruck number 1 was written by Grace Ellis. She's the Lumberjanes person. And Shay Begel is the artist on the book. And the art in that book is amazing. I really liked it. But anyway, for Stained, art 405. And I'm just put that there because it's not my favorite kind of art. Just because it's just not. But for the story, it worked really good. The art worked really good for the story it was in. Story 5 of 5. I found this story very original, and not everything is answered in a quick manner. Leaves breadcrumbs for you to want to read number 2. They don't tell you everything in the first 5 pages of the book and then start a story. This kind of gives you like, well, this person's doing this, and this person's doing this, and this person's doing this. So you want to read number 2 to find out what they have to give you in the story. Accessible, I give it 5 out of 5 because you don't need to know anything going into it. There's no huge backstory to anybody, and nothing bad is happening. And there's actually a pretty funny part because it's not really a spoiler, but there's a point in the comic book where she's getting paid, the main character is getting paid for her services, and the lady that's paying her, it's like just ice cold to her. And later on we kind of figure out why, because I'm not going to tell you why because it's part of the book, but it's really funny because she's like, I'm going to take you up for a drink sometime. It's just really funny, and I laughed out loud when I read that because after a while it was pretty obvious why she was kind of cold to her, and then when she said that, it was pretty funny. But anyway, we go to Eternal Empire, and I forgot to write down the artist and the author for this one. I started reading this, and it was really familiar kind of to me, and I was just like, man, this looks really cool, and the storyline is pretty cool, and the coloring of this book is so cool. And it turns out that the author and the artist are the people who did Alex and Ada, Alex plus Ada, and I read book number 1 of that, and that book, that first floppy that I read of that series was amazingly good. So when I was reading it, it was coming to me and was like saying, oh, this looks familiar and it kind of is cool, and otherwise I really liked it anyway. So for the art, I give it 5 out of 5. And the art, it might not be the greatest art in the universe, but it works for this story. Once you're done reading it, when you first look at it, you might go, meh. But then when you're done reading it in this story and it fits in the story, you're like, that art really fit the story, and it really shouts. Story 5 of 5. I loved it, interested, and just like in Stained, it left a lot untold. It kind of gives you a little morsel, and it says, continue reading and find out why this is like this. Love it. Also, accessibility, I gave 5 out of 5. This book was just perfect to me. This would go on a top 10 list for the year. It's brand new stuff, and you know knowledge is needed. And I believe it's on issue 4, and there's 5 issues in the series, I believe. So it's like on issue 4 of 5. but it's good stuff. I would totally recommend it to anybody who is into like legends, not legendary like we're going sword hunting and blah blah blah. I wouldn't say that, but like legends as in this happened years ago and this is blah blah blah, like that kind of legendary kind of stuff. It's good stuff. I liked it a lot. Well, we're coming up here on 10 minutes, and I think it's time to fold it up here. One last thing I'm going to tell you about is today Disney announced that they're going to pull all of their Disney stuff off of Netflix, and I'm sure off of Hulu and probably Amazon Prime when their contracts run out. They're going to start their own streaming service, and that will be pretty interesting to find out what's going to go on there. Whether the Netflix shows after that contract runs out will go on this new streaming service, and I want to know if Rebels will be on there, because that is a great show, but I don't have Disney or cable, and it's really expensive to buy the seasons after they're done, so it's kind of annoying in a way to have to go and but anyway, and I also saw Iron Fist season episode 4 with my dad, and my dad's getting into it again just like he did with Luke Cage, and it's pretty awesome. I really like Iron Fist. It's getting really good. The hand is getting all deep, and we're finding out what happened while Danny Rand was gone, and it's just totally amazing. And I'll have more to say about the next episode probably when we talk again on Friday. I'm trying to keep a schedule. It's not going to be perfect, I know, but I try to get as up on here as much as possible, and hopefully you're enjoying it. If you are, please give me a shout and rate, subscribe, tell your friends. And on Friday I'm going to go over the panels I will be on at Minnesota Fan Fest. Please put your support into this. It looks like it's trying to be a new Comic-Con for Minnesota, and if it succeeds, we might actually get a really cool Comic-Con. It's not Wizard World, and it's not trying to be Wizard World. It's trying to be something else, and I really think it's going to be a cool thing. And you'll be able to see me there, and I'll be on 2 panels, and I'll let you know which ones they are on Friday. Have a great day, and talk to you later. Bye.